Hello, everybody. David Shuster here on Take Action News, and welcome to our special Saturday edition of the show, December the 15th, 2012. We've got a great 3 hours coming up. We're going to talk, of course, about the latest on the Connecticut school massacre. I was up there last night in Newtown, Connecticut. What an awful scene that was. We'll give you blow-by-blow about what we found up there. We're going to be talking with Cliff Schechter, a resident expert on gun policy. We're also going to talk with Charles Showalter, a host of the Union Edge right here on WEAC Radio. Charles has a show Monday through Friday, noon to 3. We originally had booked him to talk about what happened in Michigan this past week, but Charles is also a gun owner, so we're going to ask him about that. But, you know, folks, this is the show where we like to tell you what's going on and what you can do to influence outcomes. And there's been a lot of talk over the last 24 hours about, well, this is not the time. This is not the time to talk about gun policy or gun control. We need to allow people to grieve. And yet, here's the thing. We can have no waiting period to buy a gun, but somehow we are expected to have a waiting period before we discuss gun violence? No, not on this show, not on WEAC Radio, not on Take Action News. So we're going to have a lengthy discussion today all about that. And by the way, for everybody who is watching us over YouTube, who's seeing our clips there and is also looking at us at takeactionnews.com. Yes, we are live video streaming our show for the first time. Live video streaming on takeactionnews.com. And, of course, pieces of the show will be sliced and diced and put up on YouTube in the days ahead, so that if you've missed any part of the show or you're not subscribed to our podcast, which is available at iTunes, you can always look us up on YouTube. I want to give a special shout-out to our own Mitch Mulaski and Daniel Marins, who are joining us on this special edition of our show. And Mitch saying hello. Daniel Marins, are you able to talk? Or are we?
Yep. Yeah, we're here.
Mitch, how's it going today?
It is going well. It's a beautiful day here in Washington. It is. It's a wonderful Saturday here in the nation's capital. Excited to be live streaming here on the web as well.
And you know, I have a timing error already on this point. I have not been keeping time. So, Mitch, I will rely on you to tell me when we're at 30 seconds before we hit our break to catch up with our syndicated stations.
We're at 3
And Daniel Marins, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, David. It looks like my Chiron. I need to fix the height here a little bit, but
yeah, Daniel, it looks like you're just like a disemboweled head. Anybody who's watching our live YouTube stream or a live Take Action News stream, Daniel looks like it's just like a head with no shoulders. There we go. And then all of a sudden your head presses up against the top frame. That's okay. You know, this is our first day, everybody, on YouTube and live streaming on the web, and so we got a couple of kinks to work out. But I guarantee this is a much better shot than what we showed you last week, where it was just me up against some black background with nobody else involved. Man. So we've got a couple of kinks we're going to work out. We're going to have some fun both on the air, on broadcast, and special, again, shout out to everybody who's listening over WPWC 1480 AM in Washington, D.C., and also to our syndicated stations who are catching the first 5 minutes of our show later in, for example, Ohio and Oklahoma and various places. We're going to pause in just a couple of minutes, though, and let our other syndicated stations catch up with us. Again, I'm going to rely on, we got 2 minutes until we do that, so I'm starting my stopwatch to make sure that, see, got my little stopwatch for anybody who's looking at us on Take Action News. And again, a great show coming up. Alan Rosenblatt on social media, he's going to have the latest on what it was like on Twitter and social media yesterday when the Connecticut massacre was happening, and how a lot of us got our information initially from Twitter. We'll also have our regular activist of the week, somebody who's been dealing with women's rights issues. We'll talk about that. And also a fascinating development involving Rupert Murdoch's empire. News Corp has a division of it that is called HarperCollins. They are the book publishers, and would you believe that HarperCollins is involved in deforestation of Indonesia? How does a publisher get involved in that, and how do they promote deforestation? Well, we're going to tell you all about that and explain what you can do to make a difference. But again, most of our show today is going to be focused on this awful violence yesterday morning. It was just about 27 hours ago yesterday morning at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, when word first got out that there had been a school shooting. And as is often the case, the news just sort of dribbled out initially. There were reports that a gunman was on the loose, that shots had been fired, the police were responding. And I can tell you that when I got there late last night, one of the things that stood out to me is that some of the first responders, the police, the local police, they were so horrified by the scene that they came upon in a kindergarten class that they were in a state of shock and literally had to be helped with grief counselors. And when you talk about hardened police who have never seen anything as gruesome as what they saw, just an awful, awful scene, and it's just been a nightmare of course, for so many Americans. So we're going to talk about that for most of today, and we are going to talk about gun policy and what we can all do to make our society safer, to try to control guns and make sure that they stay out of the hands of people who do not deserve them, should not have them. So we're going to pause in just a couple of seconds, let our syndicated stations catch up with us. You're listening to Take Action News on We Act Radio. So glad to have you aboard this Saturday, December the 15th. We pause in just a second here.